Singapore. I will explain to you why unified. New brand, I think everybody understands we are moving from the current brand, but I'll explain to you in a short while why is it a unified brand. And today we will also talk about the tourism marketing campaign that we have planned for India and globally. First, the unified brand. Singapore Tourism Board has been promoting Singapore through various brands over the last couple of decades. We started off in the 1970s, presenting Singapore as surprising Singapore, right? And then in about mid-1990s, we changed our brand to New Asia Singapore because the times of at mid-90s required a change where we presented Singapore as New Asia. And in about mid-2004, we became Uniquely Singapore. So all these brands have been very descriptive brands, right? How a country can be promoted. In 2010, we launched our brand called Your Singapore, which was relevant for the digital age because the shift was towards digitalization as well as customization. A lot of travelers started wanting to have holidays in their own terms, right? I wanted to experience a country the way I wanted to, and we felt that Singapore was in a unique position to offer that. You can customize the holidays that you want. However, we feel that's not enough. We need more now. The times have changed and we need more out of a brand. And this is where a happy confluence of factors happened. The Singapore Tourism Board, we were looking at our new brand. At the same time, the Singapore Economic Development Board that promotes Singapore to the business investors out there, they were also looking to change their brand, which was Future Ready Singapore. Right? So both organizations came together and said, look, we seem to face similar challenges, similar perception issues. What can we do about it? So what are the challenges we faced? We had the external factors. External factors, number one, is about how the tourism landscape has changed. Many more countries are out there talking to travelers about the choice of destinations. They are promoting themselves very vigorously, very aggressive in how they are presenting their country, their offerings to the travel audiences. And visitors and investors, they were also starting to look for new things. They are looking at quality, they are looking at authenticity, and business audiences, they are seeking more innovation, right, and value creation. So the external environment for Singapore is different. And what about perception? Perception-wise, Singapore is well regarded as a very safe, clean, green, everything works kind of environment, which is not a bad thing, right? The hygiene factors that Singapore is very famous for, it's a very clean and efficient place, not a bad factor. However, it lacks a bit of the authenticity, it lacks a bit of the emotive connect. And in terms of the other perception is about being small, high cost of living or high cost of experiences, and that was a weakness both from a tourism perspective as well as a business perspective. So we needed a new narrative. We needed a story that connects with the audiences. We needed a story that talks about value, that talks about authenticity, and this then prompted us to look at how the brand could change. And we didn't want to just do just a few of us gather in the room, let's have an open discussion, and then let's hey, what shall we do? What kind of a brand can we have? And then everybody, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. We said, no, hold on. Let's do some research. Let's ask the people, right? So we wanted to look at how the unified brand could look like. So we had a few things in mind. First, we wanted to look at the international audiences. How do we connect with them? How do we drive increased recognition and impact? We wanted the Singaporeans, right? The people who know the country. What is it that they can talk about in terms of presenting their own country? So how do we rally Singaporeans as brand advocates? And finally, how the whole of government, the agencies, not just the Singapore Economic Development Board and Singapore Tourism Board, but the whole of the government look at the brand and have a common narrative connecting with the audiences. So the benefits, we maximize the brand impact, we have a better definition of Singapore's differentiated positioning. So with this, we were looking at what are the fundamental shifts we need to make. First, we were looking at a unified brand, a brand that the whole of government can talk about and connect and present to the world. We wanted an inside-out approach. So typically a tourism organization will look at an outside in. We want to see how a traveler looks at us and then present a brand to them. But we decided, let's have an inside out. Let's see how Singaporeans consider their own country. What are the stories Singaporeans would like to talk about Singapore? What does Singapore stand for the Singaporeans and the Singapore residents? So it's an inside out from the perspective of the people talking to the external audiences. And we wanted to stand for an attitude and a belief. It is not just about promoting the country as a product, but also have a position about the attitude, the belief, the aspirations of the travelers when they come to the country. So we did 2 rounds of research. As I said, we could have sat down and talked about it and come out with a brand, but no, we didn't. We did 2 rounds of research. The first round was asking the question, what does Singapore stand for in the minds of the local and the global audiences? And then the second round of research was about validating a couple of themes. And we did this across 10 countries, including India. And based on all of these responses, we came to a conclusion about the new brand. But let me talk about the research findings. So the research findings, number 1, Singapore residences and businesses were proud of how Singapore has come, and they were keen to see a more authentic local side presented. They didn't want all these fancy buildings and architecture talked about. They wanted authentic side of Singapore to come through, right? They didn't want, I think all of us have got this, okay, we go to a fancy restaurant. Are we admiring the restaurant internals? No, right? We're talking about the food, the ambience, the experience we had with our people or friends in the room. So the first thing was about the Singaporeans telling us that we wanted to have a bit more authentic stories coming on. And the global audience saying they wanted a stronger sense of the Singapore software. It was very visible to them how Singapore was as a country in terms of infrastructure, what can we offer in terms of efficiency, but they wanted the softer side. They wanted to hear the software aspects about Singapore. Therefore, the first theme emerged, which is possibilities. So Singapore, over the last 5 decades of our independence, right, we have just celebrated our 52nd birthday, right? And as a country, we looked at how we have emerged. So in the area of water, right, a water-scarce country like us, we have become now an oasis, and we are into water renewal, right? F1, a series of F1 races around the globe, but Singapore is a crown jewel for the F1 circuit. Why? We have built into it a sense of entertainment, right? It's a night race transformed into a festival of entertainment. We are a lush garden city, right? We are no longer calling ourselves as a garden city. We are actually a city in a garden, right? And we have transformed the landscape over the years. And as from an airport point of view, we are not just an airport, but the airport in itself has become a destination. And when our new, actually we are calling it the Jewel, when the new Jewel project comes to fruition, it is going to be quite a destination of its own. Right? So all of this is about how Singapore as a country looks at our resource scarcity, overcome the adversity, and turn it into possibilities. Now, with that theme, we went into the second round of research. 83% of our respondents liked possibilities, and they found it very credible and believable. But possibilities on its own continues to have the lack of human touch, and it doesn't have the emotional warmth. Possibility is a very cerebral thing. It is very theoretical. Okay, it's possible, so, but it doesn't connect with an emotive at an emotive level. Therefore, we thought we needed an emotional connection. It is cold portrayal. So one of the MICE decision maker who was part of the research, he said, it is a cold portrayal of a global city in Asia. What happened to human touch? What happened to hospitality and warmth? What happened to the people? So we felt, okay, if I go out and say, hey, Singapore is a country of possibilities, people won't come, right? Okay, so what? So we felt, okay, maybe possibility is not enough. So let's dig deeper. So we ask this question, what fuels possibilities? What is the engine behind possibilities? Answer, people. It is about what drives people. And the second theme emerged, passion. So it is about passion. The second theme that has emerged is about passion. How the two gentlemen, these two gentlemen, Charles and Keith, how many have heard about Charles and Keith? Only if you come in, put up your hands, it can be a media interaction session. Yes, Charles and Keith is for shoes. I'm not wearing them now. I think Charles and Keith, I think a lot of you know. Now these two brothers took over their mom's shoe shop in Ang Mo Kio. Ang Mo Kio is like a neighborhood, right? It is Bandra, or it is Dadar. So can you imagine two brothers taking over shoe shop in Dadar, becoming an international, globally recognized chain of shoes, worn by celebrities all over the world. What made it for them? Their passion. Now this gentleman here, have you heard of Joseph Schooling? How many of you have heard of Joseph Schooling? You're a sports enthusiast? Huh? You are? Good. Joseph Schooling, he was 6 years old. And then he says, I am dreaming of swimming in the Olympics. For a lot of us, it would have been dream, but this fella pursued his dream. He worked hard for it. And lo and behold, he becomes an Olympic champion, right? The very first Olympic gold medalist for Singapore. Right? So Joseph Schooling. What drove him? Passion. Now this gentleman here, Malcolm Lee, right? He's one of the two brand personalities we have put together to give to you in the press kit later. Now this Malcolm Lee, he was very passionate about cooking, about dining, at the same time about his own Peranakan culture. So he started a restaurant called Candle Nut, and Candle Nut is the world's first Michelin-starred Peranakan restaurant. The world's first Michelin-starred Peranakan restaurant. What drove Malcolm Lee? Passion. So, passion and possibilities. The twin themes that are present in every part of our society. A country that has survived, that has thrived on the basis of how it has converted adversities into possibilities, and the possibilities have been driven by the passions of the people of Singapore and the residents of Singapore, and their stories are going to be very, very important in connecting to the outside world. So ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to present to you